What's up, everybody? I'm going to talk about the starting enrichment thermal valve. This is my 2000 Honda Elite ch80. I got all the plastics around the motor removed, but man, it runs good. And this thermal valve, I've learned a lot about it since I got this I'd call it a moped, but this is how it works. It's pretty much your choke, and instead of choking off air like a normal choke does, this adds more fuel while it's warming up. And this is plugged into the top of your carburetor, and this valve, or this needle right here, this is in the, I guess, open position. And as the bike warms up, after a couple minutes, this needle pushes down and closes off the inlet thing for the extra fuel. And I don't think it's the needle that moves. I think it's this that thing, the brown thing, actually extends, and that closes it off. And the way it works, it's either stator, which is the alternator on a moped. Either the stator powers it or the battery. I think it's the stator, actually, that powers this thing. So when you turn your bike on and it starts receiving power, this thing heats up, and there's something in there, it's a ball of wax or something that heats up, and after like 3 or 4 minutes, it expands, which pushes this needle out and closes off the to add the access to more fuel. And the alternator, it's actually located, let me get my light, right there, just to the right of that fuel filter. It's got the cover on it right there, and that's where it is on your carburetor. And this is the original that we're looking at on my seat from the bike. And there's a couple ways to test it. You can take your multimeter thing. I'm pretty new at this stuff, but I've learned a lot. There's so many good videos out there. This is a silly video compared to these pros out there that are just, man, they're so good. But this is just my 2 cents on this enrichment, because I got it working. And I got some things to say that actually, some things I learned that I didn't hear from some of the videos. But anyway, there's a couple ways to test it. So you take your multimeter, you set it to ohms, which is that one right there, the horseshoe looking thing. And then you just take your leads and you put one on each. And yeah, I'm holding my phone, so I can't do this with one hand. But you can use your finger. It seems to work just fine by holding it like this. So if you got 2 hands that you could use, just hold your needle against that, and you read the ohms. And the manual that you can easily find online, pretty much for anything, says it should be 10 ohms. Max. 10 minutes after stopping the engine. Oh, okay, well, I didn't do that. But anyway, I measured it, and it seems to work, because this original one comes out at 4 ohms. And but there's a second way to test it, and that's you take your enrichment thing, and you plug it, you just attach it to a 12-volt battery. So, and then that'll heat it up. And you can, after 3 or 4 minutes, you'll see this thing start expanding, which it did. This original one did. And it seemed like it expanded all the way out, which is only like, I don't know, not even half an inch maybe. But, so you can plug it, you can just probably just touch it right to your battery right here and hold it there for 3-4 minutes. Watch it work. But so anyway, I'm like, what the heck? Why isn't this thing working? You know, when I start my Honda, I would have to just keep hitting the throttle. I'd have to hold the throttle and keep revving the throttle and keep it up at 3,000 RPMs, or else it'll just stall out. And then after it warms up 3 or 4 minutes, then I can let go of the throttle, and worked great. So this thing wasn't working, even though it tested at 4 or 5 ohms, and I connected it to a battery, and it did extend. So I'm like, what the heck? So I went and took my carburetor out again, took it out, and this is what I haven't seen from other videos, is inside, when you take your carburetor out and you remove it, which is right there, just take your whole carburetor out, take this thing that comes out with a plate. You'll see, it's easy to see, 2 screws and a little bracket that holds it in there, and it fits right into a little hole. But inside that hole, this is what I haven't heard, at the very bottom of that hole, there's 3 tiny little holes. And I don't know, you can try to follow them. I tried to follow them. It seemed like one is for letting gas in, one is for pushing gas out, and one is for vacuum. I don't know, but there's 3 tiny little holes. So I cleaned the heck out of those. You can't get a needle in there, but you can get, squirt the heck out of it with carb cleaner and then air, your shop air. So I did that. And then I also replaced this, because they're cheap $15 ones, which is the one that's on my bike now. They're easy to find. I mean, it was simple, easy to find online. $15. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. This one actually has the cover on it. My original does not have the cover. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe cleaning out those 3 tiny little ports at the bottom of that hole is the difference. Or maybe just, and the new one tested at 8 ohms. So this one tested, when you put the ohms on, connect it, just hold it to these things. This one tested at 4, 4.5. The new one tested at 8, 8.5. And it's supposed to be 10 max. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe the fact the new one has the cover could be the difference. Gets, holds the heat in better. Maybe it was cleaning out those ports. I don't know, but man, it works good now. And watch this. We'll test it out. I'm gonna lock this brake on so I can do it. Okay. Okay, that's all I gotta do is just rev it once or twice. Now watch. It's supposed to kick up the RPMs. It's supposed to be letting in extra fuel right now, which it's doing. And the RPMs should go up. Normal RPMs when it's warmed up should be about 1,700, plus or minus 100. This, I think, should be about 1,000 more than that, so it should get up to 2,700. So I got one of these online. These are super cheap. Tachometer. You just put it next to, come over here. All you gotta do is set it right next to the spark plug wire, which is right there. And it tells you the RPM. Alright, so 21. It's not quite catching in yet. It should go up to 27 maybe. There it goes. Letting in extra fuel. There it goes. 24. Fuel's catching on. Enrichment, that enrichment thing, fuel enrichment, is still in the closed position because it's cold. Look at that, 25. And as this thing heats up, takes like 3 or 4 minutes, these RPMs should go down to about 1,700, 1,800. So we'll let that go for a minute. Man, this thing, I had to find 2 new wheels, 2 new rims, because both rims were bent. It's hard to find rims. Some parts are real easy and cheap to find, and they all seem to work good. And some parts are very difficult to find, and rims is definitely very difficult and expensive. And you gotta clean them up because they're like super rusty and old. But so rims was hard. That was hard to find. This muffler, I bet, is very hard to find if you can find it. Incredibly, man, this thing is so well designed. It's incredible. This whole bike is so well designed. I love it. All right, so this RPM is starting to even out. Let's check the tachometer. There we go. So that enrichment valve just closed. Heated up, took like 2 or 3 minutes. Now this is at the perfect idle as far as I'm concerned. 1770. I like that. Even 1800 I like, yep. The manual says 1700 plus or minus 100. And you never know. That might be influenced by some emission score they want to get. I love their engineering. I don't question it very often, but there's an exception when it comes to like things that affect emissions, because that was kind of a big deal even back then. So that's why I like it, the RPM a little higher. So I guess that's it. I've learned so much on this thing. Man, oh, don't be a dumbass like I was. And so that enrichment valve is over on this side, you know, in the carburetor. But then the wires go across here, and they plug into right here. This is where you can unplug your the enrichment. I'm just gonna call it a choke for Christ's sake. This is where you can unplug the choke. And there are 2 wires. They're these bullet connectors. You just grab each side and pull it apart. They'll come apart. And it's easy to put back together. But anyway, so these wires are supposed to be tucked up under the seat like they are now. You can't see them. And they come out here. I was letting them sag, and they were resting against the muffler right there. You can still see the spot. And I burned them, so I had to cut them out and cut out the burn, respliced it with using those heat gun wire connector solder things. Those things are awesome. And but yeah, I was worried I wasn't gonna do it, but I measured the ohms. You can measure the ohms right on the bike. You don't have to take out your enrichment or your carb to measure the ohms. You can just unplug it right here. And while the bike's off, apparently 10 minutes after is what the manual says. I should try that. But anyway, just unplug it right here to bullet connectors, 2 wires. You can figure out which ones they are. And check the ohms. And if yours not working, and those ohms are 4, 5, maybe even 6, that might be the problem. Because this cheap Chinese one, which is awesome, $15, measured at like 8.5 ohms. Maybe that's the difference, or the cover, or those 3 little tiny ports inside the carb. So, all right, thanks. See ya.